Hi friends, welcome back to my channel. Here I am again with another video. It's all about a grammar part. I can see there are only a few viewers for my grammar videos. I know it's quite difficult for us to digest this grammar, but I can assure you that if you love the process of learning grammar, your ultimate goal is not truly to crack the OET. If you practice grammar and the learning process of language, it will improve your developments, the confidence as well, it will improve. So once you start practice, you can see a lot of changes in your life. That's it. So what I recommend you as a OETs and a English language test, you should know the basic and also the different types of sentence if you have to achieve your target score. Many of us failed several times because of the grammar itself. Even though we are fluent in speaking, for the writing part, you should know the grammar very well and you have to use different types of sentence. If you use only simple sentence, it can affect your score. So just try to write the notes and try to practice it. So in that way you can develop your own skill and you can find the mistakes in your letter writing. By correcting these mistakes, you can absolutely score your required score. So here I am going to start with the basic thing itself, sentence. What do you mean by sentence? As we know, it is a set of words that is complete in itself, typically containing a subject and predicate, conveying a statement, question, exclamation, or command, and consisting of a main clause and sometimes one or more subordinate clause. And what else? It is the basic unit of language which expresses a complete thought. Example, I ate dinner. Even though it's a small, it's a sentence. It has a complete meaning. Then let's move on to the different types of sentence. There are 4 types of sentence. The first one is simple. We always try to write in a simple sentence. The next comes compound. Third one is complex. And fourth one is compound complex. In the name itself, we can feel the severity and the difficulty. First it is simple, then next is compound, then complex. Complex means we know the complexity is increasing. Then next is compound complex, the last one. So from the name itself we can understand there is difficulty or the severity. So let's start with the simple sentence. A simple sentence contains a subject, verb, and it may also have an object and modifiers. However, it contains only one independent clause. Example, she wrote is complete. There is no object, only subject and verb. Then another example for us for the OET writing. The patient requires hospitalization. I think it's clear for you. Then next move on to the compound sentence. A compound sentence contains at least 2 independent clauses. These 2 independent clauses can be combined with a comma and a coordinating conjunction or with a semicolon. So we should know what is independent clause and dependent clause. Otherwise, how we will write the compound sentence? So first we should learn what is independent clause. I will explain. Independent clause means a clause which can stand alone as a sentence. That means with the full meaning. When this clause stands alone, it has the complete meaning. It contains a subject and a verb and is a complete idea. Let's see one example. He reads many books. There is subject, the verb is reads and many books. So it has complete meaning. So as we learned independent clause, let's learn about dependent clause. A dependent clause is not a complete sentence. From the name itself we know it always depends on something else. It must be attached to an independent clause to become complete. Or it requires another clause to clarify the meaning. This is also known as a subordinate clause. Example, although he can walk, he requires assistance for personal care. Then, what are the coordinating conjunctions we are using here? Because we mentioned that in order to make a compound sentence, it has combined with a comma and a coordinating conjunction or with a semicolon. So, absolutely we should know what is coordinating conjunctions. Coordinating conjunctions connect words or phrases that serve the same grammatical purpose in a sentence. Then there are 7 main coordinating conjunctions in English, which form the acronym fanboys. I think most of us studied in our school days. So what are they stand for? F for, A for and, N for nor, B for but, O for or, Y yet, S for so. That is the acronym fanboys. When the conjunctions and or connect 3 or more words or phrases, use a serial comma to separate items in the series. Don't confuse and don't think it's a complex thing. I will explain in detail. It's nothing. When I teach the examples, you will find it's easy. A serial comma simply means that a comma will separate each element in a series of 3 or more even before the coordinating conjunction and before or. Example, in OET letter writing, they have provided several medication names. How we can write it and where we have to use this serial comma. He was commenced on morphine, codeine, Panadol. Then we have to put a comma before and then we can write pethidine. I think it's clear for you. It's nothing, just we put one comma before and. That is the thing we called serial comma. I think I will explain one more. He was commenced on morphine, codeine, Panadol, and pethidine. Then let's move on to the compound sentence. Because in order to write the compound sentence, we must know the independent and dependent clause, then coordinating conjunction. As we learned about these things, we can go to the compound sentence. How we can write a compound sentence. Mr. X does not smoke and he does not drink alcohol. So we just connected these two independent clause with and. Then another example. Mr. X smokes but he does not drink. Just connected with the but. So it's simple also. But as this type of sentence is not strong enough, it is not preferred to be repeated over the letter. You can write but don't use several times. So as we learned, simple and compound sentence. Next is complex sentence. A complex sentence contains at least one independent clause and at least one dependent clause. Dependent clause can refer to the subject, that is who or which, the sequence time, since, while, or the casual elements, that is because, if, of the independent clause. Don't worry about these things, you will just simplify. If a sentence begins with a dependent clause, note we should put a comma after the clause. If, on the other hand, the sentence begins with an independent clause, there is not a comma separating the two clauses. Don't put the comma, then it will be wrong. So always be careful when you are writing the letter. If you start with the sentence with a dependent clause, you have to put comma. If you start with the independent clause, should not put comma. Example. Although she completed her literature review, comma, she still needed to work on her method section. Another one. Usually write in our OET letter. The conclusion sentence. If you have any queries, then you have to put comma. Please do not hesitate to contact me. Then another one. If you start with the independence clause, don't put comma. Example, please do not hesitate to contact me if you have any queries. Then, how we can write? You can write either independent clause plus connected plus dependent clause. Example, the patient did not take medications. Moreover, comma, he did not present on review as scheduled. He not only didn't take medication, but also he did not present for the review. So we can connect. Otherwise, we can put the connector at the beginning. Then you can write the independent clause. I will give you one example. In addition, comma, the patient did not experience any vomiting. Either way, you can write it. Then if you use some contrasting words like however, how we can write? The symptoms subsided, semicolon. However, the patient was still lethargic. So, we can study some types of connectors as well. So, you can use in your letters. So, the types of connectors. First one, for addition, what are the connectors we can use? In addition, as well as, and, also, along with that. Then for the contrasting ideas, we can use in spite of, despite, although, even though, while, however, nevertheless, but, yet, still. Then for cause and reason, because, due to, owing to. Then if you want to talk about the result, you can use as a result of, since, as. Then you want to show a sequence, then you can use therefore, thus, hence. But these days the OET officials, they are telling don't use thus, hence, moreover, like that. Furthermore, don't use these connectors. Then we can use then, later, after. Then regarding opinion and conclusion, you can use in view of the above, in light of the above, considering the above. So let's see some example for this one. As he can't ambulate, comma, he uses wheelchair for mobility. Then, despite the fact that medications were taken on time, comma, no improvement was noticed. In view of the above, it would be appreciated if you could provide ongoing care for Mr. X. Then the last one is compound complex sentence. A compound complex sentence contains multiple independent clauses and at least one dependent clause. These sentences will contain both conjunctions and subordinators. The formula I will tell: independent clause, then plus fanboys, then dependent or independent clause, then connectors, then depend or independent clause. It seems like complicated, no, from the name itself. So example, the patient did not apply antiseptic, but he cleaned the wound. Semicolon. However, comma, it became infected. See, the patient did not apply antiseptic, but he was cleaning the wound. But however, the contrasting idea we are telling, it became infected. So in that way, if you use different types of sentence, it will improve your score. I know it's a quite long video, but I'm quite sure if you follow the whole watch the whole video and follow the methods and write a note, it will help you a lot. Thank you for supporting me. And if you are watching the first time, please subscribe, like, and share with your friends. So it will be helpful for them as well. Thank you. Bye.